Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I am so excited to bring you this video. I think that this video is going to be amongst the most valuable videos that we make. We're going to show you how to create an AI chatbot using CloseBot.AI, which is a separate service, but I'm going to show you front to back, end to end, A to Z, how to create it. I'm going to share with you my prompt. I'm going to give you this as a handout. I'm going to show you every click and nook and cranny that we need to configure in order to get this to work. This is really powerful. I think this might be one of the most popular videos in this series, maybe in competition with creating the Facebook ads, because I know there's a lot of demand and a lot of people who search for content and do that stuff. But hey, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're coming back and you're watching this entire series, thank you for sticking with me. I hope you're getting a whole lot of value out of this. My intent here is to create the most comprehensive and value-packed series here on Facebook to show you how to create Facebook ads for your home service business and how to create an AI chatbot so that you have a 24/7 virtual assistant that's working for you while you sleep, while you travel, while you spend time with your family, and while you service your customers. My name is Justin, and I run a company called LeadBrain. We're a full-service digital marketing company. We run ads for home service companies, and then we also do some other sales and automation stuff like building these bots out for other people. So if you see something here and you're like, hey, this is just too technical for me, but I want this in my business, just reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. We can probably plug into your system, but that's enough. I'm not here to sell you anything. I truly want to show you exactly how to do this from A to Z. Now, if this is your first time here, I always lead with a disclaimer. If you've watched these other videos, I apologize. I'm going to tell you again, watch these videos all the way through. Don't be distracted. Don't watch the news. Don't browse your reels. Don't cook dinner while you're watching these things. Or if you are, watch them and then come back and watch them again so that you can follow these technical instructions step by step to be sure that you don't miss anything. There's a lot of moving pieces here. I'm not going to lie. None of this is difficult, right? You don't need to be a coder. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to be a technical wizard to get any of this to work. It's all filling in forms and putting text in boxes and clicking save and stuff, but there are a lot of details. There are some steps that you can mess up, and it can be incredibly frustrating to troubleshoot or to change if you don't pay attention. So please pay attention. Now, this whole series is going to be about 10 videos, maybe more, I don't know. And right now we're going to build an AI chatbot. Let's go into the discussion real quick. And actually, but before we even go, in the first video, I showed you what we're going to go to and what an AI chatbot actually does for you, right? So if we come in here, I showed you this conversation. This happened on July 10th. This is in my real estate business, Flipping Fayetteville, where we source off-market deals for ourselves. But forget the real estate side. We're gonna do this for a pressure washing company that we're just using as a random home service business. It can be anything. You can be a lawyer, an attorney, a real estate professional, a lender, whatever it is, a roofer, an HVAC. It doesn't matter. The fundamentals are the same. You're gonna take these lessons, you're gonna apply them, you're gonna tweak some things for yourself, you're gonna test them, and then you can use it. But I want to show you an example of how powerful a chatbot can be. On July 10th at 8:30 in the morning or something, I started an hour-long meeting, and so I was in a meeting when this lead came in. We were running Facebook ads, lead came in and filled out a form, and then the bot, Alex, is what we name our bot in Flipping Fayetteville, went out and qualified this lead. Not only did it qualify the lead, it actually booked an appointment on my calendar. Now, I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. I was focused in the meeting. I'm a one-man company, and all this happened. This is really powerful. So imagine you are out on a job or you're out spending time with your family on the weekend and this conversation is happening. I'm not going to read the conversation word for word, but I will scroll down so you can see that the bot dynamically, which means anytime a new message came in, it processed that message as a new message. It took the context of the past messages it had sent and came up with a coherent response to have that conversation with that lead and carry out its objectives. We're going to tell the bot what the objectives are. So this is awesome. If you can probably glean here, my objectives here is, hey, I want to see if they're interested in selling their home. Yes. When are they interested? Says ASAP. And then why are they interested in selling their home? These are objectives that I told the bot to go out there and grab and then book a call with me, right? And so you could see the bot even handles questions and answers that are like the answer is not good enough for the bot. I personally thought it was good enough, but Alex the bot didn't think it was good enough, so it asked again, and then it actually set us up on a call. This is just one example of how powerful the bot can be, and hopefully you can see the vision here on how it can be powerful in your business. I truly believe that this single thing, like an AI has just really come to fruition and accessible for small businesses, I'd say in the last 6 to 9 months, this single thing will change your business. It'll take those missed opportunities, those missed calls. If you've run Facebook ads in the past and you haven't had success, this one thing changes the entire game. So you can take that mindset of saying Facebook ads didn't work for me, that's a waste of money, and implement this and watch and see how you no longer have to waste your time trying to attack and get in contact with leads who don't answer the phone, who don't text. We're going to put it on autopilot. We're going to touch them multiple times, and we're going to handle their objections. We're going to tell the bot what it needs to do to get us on an estimate. So let's go ahead. Let's go into the discussion. I like to start all these lessons with a discussion because I think that the theory and the what's the word I'm looking for? Let's just leave it at theory. The theory is important, right? What is it we're trying to accomplish? The background here is important. It's fundamentals. What service are we using? Justin, did you make this AI system all on your own? Are you this wizard genius? Absolutely not. I am not. I'm proud to say I use a company called CloseBot.AI. Their founder and their team, and they have a very active community. They're always pushing out updates. They're all about their users. I can't say enough good things about CloseBot.AI. Now, there are other systems out there. ZappyChat, GoHighLevel has their own conversational AI capability. I don't know how those companies are. I don't know if they're good. I don't know if they're bad. I don't know what the functionality is like. I haven't focused on it because when I was doing my research, I found that CloseBot was the one for me. And I've built multiple bots using CloseBot since then, and it's served me well and served my clients well. So I highly recommend CloseBot.AI. I have a link here. It is an affiliate link. I ask that you use it. It doesn't cost you anything. It does support the channel. If you're not a CloseBot customer already, there's a free trial, which is crazy that they give you a free trial, but there's a free trial included in here so you can follow step by step and do this yourself. Now, if you see all this and you're like, hey, I don't want to subscribe to CloseBot, this is too much for me, I just want you to do it, I have an account where I can create unlimited amount of bots, and I do this for other clients. So if that interests you, just reach out, click the link below, go to leadbrain.io and schedule a call with me. Now, pricing for CloseBot. It's crazy affordable, right? This is a 24/7 employee. This is what I want you to see it as. Some people look at this and they say, it's just another subscription, Justin. Yeah, true, get it. I'm over subscriptions as well. However, this person is going to be working. It's not a person. This AI is going to be working when you're sleeping, when you're on vacation. If you remember the first video, I told you I had to shut this off while I was on vacation with my family because it kept booking appointments with leads that were coming in. And I wasn't able to service those appointments because I was in Europe with my family. This is very reasonable, in my opinion. When I first started out, I just used the basic user plan, and now I'm an annual user on the super user plan. I highly recommend come in here, try it. At a minimum, create a free account so you can mess with it while you're following along in this video. Now, let's go back to our document here. If you haven't watched video 3, I highly recommend you watch video 3. I'll try to link it somewhere up here. But video 3, the reason I say you need to watch this first is because we configured some custom values and custom fields in video 3. We laid the groundwork to install this bot later on. So if you're just watching this video, then you might be a little lost. You may be able to, if you're fluent in GoHighLevel and all that stuff, you may be able to make up where we're at. But just watch video 3. It's free. I have the link in here. I'll provide the handout as well. There's a link down below where you can put your name, phone number, and email. And if you put that in, I'll send you this document, which is going to have the links to the video. And then also there's a snapshot that'll be in here that I'll link below as well. And the prompt and everything that we're going to go through is in this document. So you can just simply copy and paste. Now, what's an AI chatbot, right? I think we assume, especially as technical types, that everybody knows what an AI chatbot is. I'm going to do my best to try to explain it. And I've said it before, but think of it as a 24/7 employee that serves as a lead intake specialist or a lead manager. Now, I don't want to make it seem like this AI chatbot is going to replace a human. It's not. AI is not there yet. Hopefully it's never there. It just helps people focus more on what they should be focused on. If you have a receptionist or a secretary already who does this sort of work, chances are he or she is missing opportunity because they get caught up in doing other things in the office, other things that may be more valuable to you or more valuable to them. This just takes the whole initial lead contact, lead qualification, appointment booking off their hands, right? And I say appointment booking, that's optional. All the objectives are optional. We set that. So What does the bot do though? The bot automatically responds and has two-way communications dynamically, meaning that it thinks, it processes responses and prior messages to create a coherent response that's appropriate for that conversation with every single message that's sent. So it can do that via text message. It can do that via Instagram DM, Facebook DM, email. Those are the most common ones. Chat widget. It can Google Chat till it goes away. Those are the most common messaging channels. I think WhatsApp's in there. I've never done it with WhatsApp, but GoHighLevel has the ability to support it. So it can do it across all those channels. The only thing it doesn't do, and this is just CloseBot specific, there are other technologies out there like Air AI. I've never used it, but I've been on the other end of one and it's pretty impressive. But this doesn't do voice. We're not going to call our leads and we're not going to exchange voice with them. Rumor has it that GoHighLevel is going to come out with some voice capability later I think in the next quarter or something, but we're not going to focus on voice. Most people respond to text messages. There's a stat somewhere out there that I think HubSpot posted. About 98% of people read their text messages within the first 3 minutes. That's crazy, right? If you call people, for the most part, people don't like talking on the phone, what I found in my experience. So texting is perfectly appropriate. Another thing, like the response rates on text messages is something like 40% or something. It's high, it's up there. So text messages are effective. I think they'll continue to be effective here in the near future. And also Facebook messaging and all that stuff, super effective. Talked about the bot being able to respond. All right, cool. As far as this replacing your employee, like, the bot's not going to do everything in your business, and you shouldn't rely on it to do everything in your business. It's really good at doing one thing. Lead qualification, appointment booking, like that's it. It lives in a box. It doesn't have feelings. It's literally computing responses and being robotic, right? Even though it does a really good job at seeming like it's a human. Now, what I say is don't get too reliant on this bot. I have some clients that ever since installing the bot, they've become complacent with how they attack leads. And what do I mean by that? When a lead comes in, especially if it's from a digital channel, Google, pay-per-click, Facebook, whatever it is, speed to lead, flash to bang, whatever you want to call it, is so important. It's paramount. You want to be contacting that lead within the first 3 minutes and hopefully within the first 30 seconds, right? So if you were doing that before and you were calling your leads, continue to call your leads. But now I need you to not stress about if you can't get a hold of that lead, or if a lead called you and you missed it, or if you need to follow up with that lead. Just know that the bot has your back and it's doing it as well via text message. And what we see is if somebody's at work and they fill out a lead form and then somebody calls them, they're at work. They're probably not going to answer the phone, but they'll respond to a text message. Or maybe they don't want to talk to somebody. They'll respond to a text message. Or maybe they don't want to respond right now. And we have automation set up to text them later on at 7:30 p.m. because that's when most people are at home relaxing for the day, right? So they might engage with a text message. They might engage with a call. But it's always best for you to call your leads, for you to get on the phone, or whoever on your team is getting on the phone and talk to those leads and have a real human-to-human conversation. So I wanted to put that out there. Do not get complacent. This is here to help you. This is here to enable you to do more and provide a better service and a better customer experience to your client, but it's not meant to go fire your receptionist or for you to stop responding to your leads. Because I think if you do that without tying up some loose ends, you might find yourself in trouble. So beat that horse to death. 24/7, no coverage, no bathroom breaks, right? It's huge. It's funny, but it's true. The AI doesn't take bathroom breaks. It's a computer. It's always going to be going. Now, we already looked at the demo. That was just the image I showed you. I think that this is so powerful. I said it at the beginning of the video, and I'm going to say it again before we go into the technical demo. This is so powerful. What happens when a lead comes in after hours, right? If I ask that to most business owners, there's a company here locally, I'll leave their name out of it, but they do over $1 million in revenue. And when they're off of work and their receptionist is off of work and a lead comes in, they just get to it the next day. And if it's a Friday after work, then they just get to it on Monday. That's crazy to me. Why would you do that? Especially in today's day and age when this technology exists. What happens if you're an owner-operator and a lead comes in while you're busy quoting a job, or you're putting out a fire, or you're conducting an estimate? How likely are you to really follow up with that lead? If you're paying for any sort of advertising, or you rank #1 on Google and you get a ton of traffic, how are you servicing those leads while you're out if you're running a small business and you're the only one out there? You're doing the dirty work. You're doing the estimates. You're answering the leads. It's a tough job to do. Let this AI technology shore you up. Now, What are the features? We have high touch initial contact. Now, you'll see what I mean in a tutorial here. In the next video, we're going to go over some modifications we make to a snapshot that we import. But initially, we're going to send 4 messages in the first 24 hours. And some of you guys may be thinking, that's a lot. That's pretty annoying. Guess what? Our job here, I always like to say, it's not to qualify leads, it's to disqualify leads. What I mean by that, sometimes people fill out forms on Facebook because they're just like bored and they're scrolling and they want to see what's next. But you don't want to spend time on those people, right? So you want to only spend time on people who want the service. Now, if we send 4 messages to somebody and they just say stop, good. We don't have to spend time on them, right? But if they actually want to opt in, it won't even take 4 messages. But the reason we send 4 messages is also because people get busy, right? So within 30 seconds, we send them 2 messages. We send them, actually, I think it's 5. Send them 2 messages. We introduce ourselves. We tell them we need to get some more information from them. If they don't respond in 30 minutes, they're getting another message. Hey, you there? In 30 minutes, if they don't respond, they're getting another message. Hey, I don't mean to bother you, but are you interested in the service? If not, you're more than welcome to say stop. That's the breakup. They're more than welcome to opt out at that point. And then if they don't answer there at 6:30 or 7:30 at night, we send another text message and say, hey, are you still interested? Okay. Now, we see people opt in at all phases of this high touch initial lead intake, right? So don't discount it. This works. This has drastically increased our lead contact rate. And so if this is the only thing you get out of this video, it's probably going to be valuable to you. Because I know tons of agencies. I talk to agency owners and they're not doing this. And if they just did this without the AI, I think that they'd be more successful getting in contact with their leads. Now, what else does the AI chatbot do? Objection handling. It does a pretty good job at handling when a lead pushes back on a question. Let's say a common question that people push back on for the real estate business is motivation. When we ask, why are you selling this property? For some reason, people get offended by it. And sometimes they try to beat around the bush, and the bot does a good job at saying, hey, like, we know this could be difficult times, but we're just trying to find the best way that we can serve you. Whatever. It comes up with a coherent response to try to handle objections. It can also do things like anger detection and shut itself off if it detects that the lead is getting angry. We turn that off because typically we don't have angry people. We're not going outbound with this. I don't recommend going outbound with text messaging. I think it's illegal, actually. We're just responding to inbound leads, so we don't have a ton of angry people coming into our pipelines. Other things it can do is frequently asked questions, right? It can answer those. We can load it up with a knowledge database. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. And it can answer those automatically. So if you like run a gym and you have like hours of operations as a common question, you could probably just set up a chat widget on your website, and if somebody asks it, then the bot can respond. Hey, when are childcare hours? And it can coherently respond that way. Other things it can do is lead qualification. We're going to go through, we're going to configure objectives for that, appointment booking, and yeah, we'll leave it there. Now, here's what we need to do. Sign up for CloseBot. I already did this. You go ahead and do that. Now, create a new bot. Let's go ahead and hop into the main interface. So if you're new to CloseBot, this is what the main interface looks like. This is one of my bots here. And we're going to go ahead and create a new bot. We're going to create one from a template, and don't worry about it. We're going to modify everything here. We just created a new bot by hovering over this plus sign and creating it from a template. Now, here is some pretty simple stuff. I actually have the prompt and everything that we're going to go over, but the first few steps are really easy. We're going to label it, which is just the bot name. We're going to name this Vets Wash Houses. That's the name of our company. I said we were going to name the bot Alexis, and we're not going to put any delay in response. Now, the reason this delay is here is, let's say we see this, it's pretty common actually. Like, people will respond when they're texting, and they'll text it in like multiple messages. They'll be like, my address is, send, and then they'll send their address, right? It doesn't happen too often, but it is an occurrence. It does happen, right? If you wanted to put a delay here, you can delay it 10 seconds, so that gives CloseBot time to process that message and respond with the context of both of those messages that were sent. But you don't actually have to do this. I don't do this on any of mine. Bot usage limit, I don't put a usage limit on it. If you're signed up for the basic plan, I'm not even sure that you'll see that. Here, stop for upset leads. I turn this off. I let my clients handle this, and I handle this for our leads. And it just, sometimes this can get confused if somebody uses certain language, like, for example, in the real estate business, we ask for motivation. If they're like, my a-hole nephew ruined the house, it might interpret that as that's an upset lead and it's going to stop. So I don't want to do that. I turn it off. Stop when all objectives are done. We're not actually going to do that. We have other ways to go about that. In the next video, I'm going to show you a workflow that I create to check the goals, the bot's goals, and to send notifications and turn the bot off from the GoHighLevel side. You're more than welcome to put it in there if you want and turn that on, but I leave it off. Multi-objective handling. This is awesome. This is a recent feature. I turn it on, but let's say somebody provides their name, phone number, and email in one text message, and those were 3 of your objectives. It will check off all 3 objectives with that one message. So before then, it would get confused and it'll still ask for their name and email even if they put it in that last message and it only accomplished the phone number objective. We'll leave that on. Now, typos. You can mess with this. I don't put typos in there, but this is just an effort to make the bot seem more human, right? Hey, let's just say, you could see on the right, it has a description of what this does. We can increase the typo percentage. It's up to you. Frequency to break up larger messages. It tries to text more like a human, right? It'll break up these messages into multiple messages. The same behavior that I was telling you the delay was for, the bot can do it as well. It looks more realistic. Now, prohibitive words, right? This is prohibited words. This is an example. There's certain words that are regulated out of sort of conversation, like cash offer and some spammy type words. You can put a word list in here and replace some words. I'm not going to mess with any of that. Anything you do in the bot, whenever you make any changes, if you see unsaved changes, you want to save, right? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to integrate our GoHighLevel account. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh here because sometimes we have some leftover. The interface isn't perfect. Sometimes we have some leftover stuff. Cool. So you see how everything reset itself. Now, we're going to connect our GoHighLevel account right now, the one that we created in step 3, the vets wash houses. Now, I wanted to show you some things here. Now, we can use our own API key for OpenAI, and if that sounds like Chinese to you, don't worry about it. You actually don't need to do that, but there is some cost savings to doing that. If you're like on the pro tier, you can connect your own OpenAI ChatGPT key, and I think it saves you a few cents per message. But when I first started this, I just bought credits using this up here, and I think it's 3 or 4 cents per message. It sounds like a lot, but you really need to be pushing a lot through the system for you to really feel it. I think I still have $88 in my account that I really don't know how to get it back. I'll have to reach out to support here and get it back, but just buy credits. Don't worry about OpenAI for now. But the one thing you do need to do is connect your GoHighLevel. So just go ahead and click connect. And when you do that, it's actually going to pop up with the connection here, the OAuth connection, and we're going to search for our sub account, which is Vets Wash Houses, and we're going to go ahead and connect it. Once you do that, it should be connected. I like to refresh just to make sure. Let's go back to integrations. It's connected. We're good to go. Now, triggers. I leave all these tags on. Now, what does this do? This adds tags to the contact anytime these things happen. Whenever the bot responds, it adds a tag saying the bot responded. Whenever no booking slots were found, it'll do it. If aggression was detected, it'll add a tag. If all objectives are complete, it'll add a tag. Those are just helpful later on in your contacts. In order for you to sort by tags, you can look at things that like the bot has done, and it gives you some context on the bot conversation. I leave all those on. One thing I do turn on is the bot off on manual auto reply. This is also a new feature, and it's very useful. And before, I used to create like a bot kill switch where a client would get notified, hey, you have a new lead. The bot is active. Click this link to kill the bot. Because sometimes you want to kill the bot, right? If you got a hold of them on the phone, or if you're texting them, or you look at it, it's an unqualified lead, you don't really care for the bot to handle it, you could turn that off, right? And we could still do that. I'll show you how to do the bot kill switch. As a matter of fact, I have another video about bot kill switches. Now, what we do want to do is, this is a new feature where if your client or you manually reply, the bot knows that you manually replied, and it'll shut the bot off automatically. I like that. It didn't used to do that before, which is really frustrating, because then the bot and the actual user, like you guys would be competing for text messages, right? So now the bot can know that so long as this setting is turned on, and it'll shut off as soon as it sees you or your client reply. Now, here is the main objective. We're actually going to go through and we're going to remove all this because remember, we created it from a template. So we're going to go ahead and X this out. And in here, I actually have everything laid out. So I'm going to send this to you if you're a part of the email list below. It's free. Just opt in and I'll send this prompt to you. Or if you want, you can hand jam all this. But this is what I found works best for me. I don't know if it'll work best for you, so we'll come in here. You can experiment with this. I'm going to say friendly. This is the bot voice. Professional, sort of the theme of the bot, the theme of your virtual employee. Conversational. Without conversational, I found that the bot was like brash, like it was just trying to get to the objective. So once we added conversational, it seemed more natural. And experience. We want our bot to be confident. Maybe we can even add confident in there, but you don't want to overload this, right? Like I actually think 4 is too many, and it tells you here, like sometimes less is more, right? AI is very smart. It's got a lot of data to go off of. So I tend to over-engineer these things, which probably does more harm than good. But you can be simple and see what it does and add to it. It's probably better to start with less, if I'm being honest. Now, why the conversation is happening, this is the main prompt, right? We're going to teach the bot, hey, who are you? Why is this conversation happening? Here's important things about my business, and here's some restrictions on how to respond. I'm going to provide all this to you. Now, one thing I want you to focus on is you see these squiggly brackets and all these variables. We talked about variables in video 3. Don't get confused about this. If you haven't watched video 3, I'm going to go ahead and tell you to watch it again. But just know that you don't have to have these. I have these in place because I build bots for other people all the time, right? So this makes my job a whole lot easier. But if it's just you building bots for yourself, like instead of using CloseBot rep name, you can say, hey, you're a friendly but savvy sales assistant named Alexis. And you can just go ahead and remove this variable from in here because you don't need that. And that'll be just fine. Instead of using the variable location name, you can just say, hey, this is Vets Wash Houses, right? But we're going to go ahead and use variables. I like to use variables wherever possible. I explained this in video 3. If you use variables where it's possible, you can change this information in one spot and it gets updated everywhere. So that's why I like to use them. But why is the conversation happening? You're a friendly but savvy sales assistant named Alexis at Vets Wash Houses, a house wash and pressure washing service in the greater CSRA, which is a value that we created, area. Again, all this was created in video 3. Contact name, which is whoever the lead is that came in, opted into a digital ad. Now, if you wanted to be more specific here, you can say opted into a digital ad to receive a special offer where we're washing driveways along with we're offering a free driveway cleaning with any house wash, right? But I'm not going to go in there because if you choose to change offers later on in the future, then you'll have to change your bot, right? And so that's not always intuitive. So I just say, hey, they opted in from a digital ad. So we'll go ahead and copy that and we'll paste. I like to make sure this pasted correctly. Yep. I like to save this. Anytime I make a change, I save. These interfaces are never perfect, so it's important to save. Now, important business information. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I am going to highlight something. Sometimes this information right here, location city, location state, is all being pulled from GoHighLevel. If you go into settings and then go into business profile, it's being pulled from in here, right? So if, let's say you own a business and you had somebody, a lawyer, create your LLC and you have a registered agent and that's what you put in here, sometimes that's not the same place where you service, right? So just pay attention. Here it is the same, Augusta, Georgia, right? But sometimes it's not. If you have location city and location state, whatever, you can replace these variables with whatever place you serve. You don't have to use the variables. But in my case, it still works. Serving the market. This company excels in providing data. This company is run by first name, last name, who's a local business owner, reliable, cool. Now, I added this little note here. You can do this if you want to, or you can set up a document in a knowledge base. I'll show you the knowledge base here in a second that answers a bunch of frequently asked questions. But pricing is something that's commonly asked, especially for home service businesses. If you run a fencing company, they want to know how much you charge per linear foot. If you run a custom curbing company, they want to ask you the same. If you're cleaning driveways, they want to know how much per square foot. So you have some of these objections. You can feed the bot information. I just put this in here as an example so that if somebody asks, hey, what's your pricing? We're not going to really discuss pricing. The bot's not going to give you a clear answer. It's going to say, hey, our minimum job amount's $150, but we really do require somebody to go out there and give you a personalized estimate because we can't do that over the phone, and that's not really my job. That's why we put that in there. Let's go ahead and copy that. Organization is important here. So how you write actually matters. Be very clear. You're talking to a computer here. So you need to be very clear, very concise. The way you organize these prompts actually matter, and it helps the bot read it coherently. How to respond. I like to do this in a bulleted list just like this. But we say things like don't use the word consultation. I noticed that the bot wanted to use consultation instead of estimate. Now, if consultations is what you don't have to put this in here. Don't be too heavy on sales. Don't be too heavy on sales. Your job's not a salesperson. Just be conversational, be casual, be helpful, right? Don't say contact name and contact first name in your replies. I noticed every time somebody replied, it would be like, hey, Justin, thank you for this. Hey, Justin, thank you for this. And that's not natural, right? So I put this in there and that stopped the bot from doing that. I say all this and I explain this because if you notice something off with your bot, then you can come in here and tweak it. You can train it to respond the way you like. If you see something you don't like, just put something subtle in here, but to the point, very brief. Don't do this, and it shouldn't do that. One thing that's very important, we're going to configure objectives. Do not, I repeat, put objectives in any of your main prompt. This whole thing is your main prompt. This whole thing is your main prompt. Do not put objectives in this prompt. That, what I've seen, confuses the bot. It'll actually get the objective done. You see right here, we're going to configure objectives later. But it'll get objectives done, and because it's in the main prompt, every time it processes that message, it thinks it has to solve for that objective, and it'll just confuse the bot, and it'll have redundant conversations with your clients. So don't put any objectives in here. We're going to go ahead and I am going to copy and paste this. There's some other things in here. One of the big things, don't tell lead name your bot. This isn't huge. You don't have to do this. I think some people actually don't mind if they're talking to a bot so long as it's helpful and it's not frustrating. I choose not on most of them to say, hey, I don't really want it to tell the client I'm a bot, but that's up to you. And then the 160 character length, that's to keep everything in one segment of an SMS, so you're reducing cost and being brief. Awesome. So we have that in here. Let's save that. We should be good to go here. Let's go on to objectives. Now we're going to go ahead and delete all these because this was from our template. And we're going to start from scratch. First thing I want to do is to get the lead's name. Very important right here. Skip objectives if this is already filled out. Because some of you might be asking, if they filled out a form on social media or if they DM'd us on Facebook, we already have their name, for sure. But sometimes, if you ask the bot to respond to a missed call, the only thing the bot knows about this person is their phone number. So in that event, you want them to ask for the lead's name, so you have it in your CRM and GoHighLevel. But if the field's already filled out, and you see right here, we selected the name field, if that's already filled out, just skip it. You're good to go, right? So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do the same thing for email. Some of you guys may care about email, some of you guys may not. I care, I want data, and phone number. Email is important, especially if you guys are sending digital invoices. So we just made 3 changes, we need to save. Let's save. Awesome. Now, I like to keep that all in priority number 1. I keep these in segments of like themes of the objective. Our next priority is we want to get their address. So let's come in here and look for address. And the prompt right here is really simple, right? Get at lead name's address, right? So that this at lead name is CloseBot's way of saying, hey, this is fill in the blank, whatever the lead's name is. But I like to add something additional to this. And if you click here on show extra prompt, you have an opportunity to add some additional instructions here. Now don't go crazy in here, but let's see. Response from lead name should include street address with city and state. Perfect. I was actually just going to say that, right? Sometimes you just want to add some clarifying information in here. Now, also, if you notice that your bot is asking for things like in an odd way, or it's not really picking up on things, you can come into this extra prompt and fine tune it as well, right? So I showed you the spot on how to respond in the main prompt for like general things, but if it's objective specific things, you can come in here and add to this extra prompt. Sensitivity. Here's something where, let's say we were asking for motivation, right? As a matter of fact, we'll do this on the next one because we're going to ask for a job description. So we're going to skip this field if it's already filled out. Maybe we have a form that asks for the address and we want to skip the field. So we're good to go. What's next? What's another one that we want to do? We want job description. So let's go ahead and get job description. We already did those. And we're about to do job description. So let's add that to priority 3. And we are going to search here. I think we created a field called job description. Let's see. Yeah, we did. So in video 3, we created a custom field, which is right here in the settings. And we created a custom field named job description. And so because we integrated CloseBot into our GoHighLevel, CloseBot now knows about all these custom fields. So hopefully it's making sense as to why we created this stuff in video 3. So we can go ahead and just do this seamlessly. Now, skip this objective if it's already filled out. We actually asked for this inside of the Facebook lead form, but maybe in the future we create a lead form where we don't ask for it because we realize our cost per lead is too high when we ask for the job description up front. So we'll just let the bot handle this, right? You notice here, this isn't a standard field. So even though we selected job description, the rest of this stuff didn't automatically fill out, right? So let's come in here and add job description, and we can say ask at lead name for a brief description of the service. Cool. We'll leave it at that. We don't need to do anything in the extra prompt right now. This should be totally fine. If you want, you can even copy and paste that in there. It should be fine. We can fine tune this. If it's not doing what we want it to do, if we see that through testing or through iteration with leads coming in, it's asking it in a weird manner, we can come back here and mess with it. Now, I'm going to show you this sensitivity training. This happens with motivation. We saw it in our example where we asked, hey, why is it that you wanted to move? And they said, oh, we want to move out of state. And for the bot, that wasn't enough. And it asked again. We can actually reduce the sensitivity. And the lower the sensitivity is, the more it's willing to check that objective complete if the answer's subpar. So for things that can be like subjective, like a job description, I like to put the sensitivity low, right? The higher you put the sensitivity, the more it wants like a very specific answer. The higher the lower you put it, the more it's willing to accept whatever the lead's giving you. Now, max attempt, I'm not going to set any max attempt here, but if it's like a contentious question like motivation, why do you want to sell your house, we might set a max attempt to 2. Hey, only try to do this twice before giving up. And we're actually going to do that on the estimate calendar booking. We're not going to do it on here. I don't think this is a very invasive question. Now, if you're in here, you can come in here and train the bot a little bit better. And you can, I'm not going to go over this because a lot of times I don't even use this section, but if you want to come in here and give examples of lead responses and whether it's a pass or a fail and what rating you want to give it on the sensitivity scale, you can come in here and configure that. Now, I can go over this in a different video, but I want to keep this basic for you guys so that it makes the most sense. So let's go ahead and close that and save. And then let's make sure that this is good and it's saved. Cool. Let's throw away this because we created one for no reason. Save. Awesome. Now, next thing we're going to do is we are going to do appointment booking. Now, if we wanted to just do a callback time, I don't know if we ever created, no, we didn't create a value called callback time. So let's go ahead and add a field called callback time. I'm going to show you an alternative to appointment booking because I know some home service companies don't run a tight calendar because they're owner operators and they're servicing their clients all over the place and maybe their calendar is held somewhere else. So maybe they just want a callback time to ask the bot, hey, what's the best time of the day to call you? And then they'll call them later on. That's totally fine. I'm going to show you appointment booking here where it books an appointment on our calendar. So it's really powerful because if you have an estimate team that works off that calendar, then this bot is actually booking appointments for your estimate team or for you to go out on that appointment. So that's in there. Let's go ahead and refresh this. Sometimes it takes a while for the new values to come in, but let's see if it popped in. If not, we'll just move on because we're going to do appointment booking anyway. Let's search for callback. Oh, there it is. It populated already. So callback time. We'll call that. And I'm not going to save this one. Or I'll save it and then I'll delete it. Determine the best day and time to call back the lead or at lead name. Best day and time. Show extra prompt. Determine the best day and time for our estimate team. So that way it's saying, hey, what's the best time for our estimate team to reach out? Just so that like I'm not scheduling your appointment with you right now. I'm just asking you for the best time for our estimate team to reach out and book an estimate with you, right? So that's what I would name it. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because we're actually going to have it book an appointment. So if you come in here and go down to, I believe it is calendar. In video 3, we created, actually video 5, our Facebook forum, we created a calendar in GoHighLevel because we synced our CloseBot to GoHighLevel. It knows about the calendar. So we can go ahead and see if it found our calendar. And if it didn't, That'd be interesting. Let's see. There it is. Just have to close it and open it back up. Estimate calendar. That's the calendar we created. If we come in here to Lead Brain and go to calendars, you'll see that we created a simple calendar, and that was in video 5. If you haven't watched that, go watch that. But if not, if you already know to create a calendar, that's what it is right there. Cool. So we went ahead and we're going to make this max attempts 2, right? If somebody doesn't want to book, that's okay. We don't want to beat them to death to book the appointment. We can at least notify the team that we have their name, their address, their phone number, and a job description. I would call that a qualified lead. We'll go into the goal check workflow in the next video. Oh, that's a qualified lead, and then the appointment booking just didn't happen, so you guys should reach out and book the appointment. And what you could do here also is that you can say, we'll keep it simple right here. Try twice to book an appointment. If that doesn't work, then just end the conversation and we'll have a human hop in at that point. Awesome. I'm going to pause here. At this point, we created the bot. We created some basic settings. We scripted the main prompt. We integrated CloseBot into GoHighLevel. And we have the knowledge database here that we haven't gone over yet. So in the knowledge database, this is a place for you to add amplifying information about you, your company, frequently asked questions, and then you can train the bot on that. You can tell the bot to reference this if anybody ever needs more information. And so if you come over here to knowledge storage, this is limited if you're on some of the basic plans, but it's also not super important that you do this. But it's really powerful if you do. So if you come in here to knowledge base, you can actually scrape a website, so you can provide your website and you can title this knowledge base whatever you want, like Vets Wash Houses website. I don't have a website for this fictional company that I created, but if I had the website, I'd put it in here and then I'd click save. It'll go out, it'll scrape that website, it'll put it in a file, and then it'll reference that anytime anybody has any questions about the website. This is really powerful because if you have an About Us page or something, it'll find your team members and all that stuff if you have them listed. For an example, one of our clients is a tattoo shop and they have multiple artists, and their artists have their specialties in the About Us page. And so it's nice because when somebody comes in and they have a conversation like, hey, who does the best family portraits or realistic portraits. And if somebody has that on their description, the bot's smart enough to actually look at that and be able to say, hey, Tina is our in-house portrait specialist, so you should go check out some of her work. Really powerful. If you had like frequently asked questions, you can come in here to text input and then you can copy and paste them in here. So we're not going to add anything to the knowledge base. This is fine for now. Let's go back to modify bot and back to Vets Wash Houses. Cool. So that's it. Not really. That's it inside of the CloseBot section. Now, the one thing we have to do is we have to import a snapshot that CloseBot provides us. So if you go into integrate, there's this link right here, that snapshot link. That link is also provided, we already did that, is provided in here somewhere. Here we go, import snapshot. So we created a new bot, we integrated to HighLevel, and here's the snapshot link. So if we click that, it'll ask us what account we want to import it to. I already have this import. It'll ask us to import it into our agency level, and then we will import it into the account. Now, I already have this snapshot imported, so I'm not going to re-import it again. But what I will do is go into sub-accounts. If you're new to HighLevel, you'll have this agency view, and then this is a sub-account view. In the agency view is how you go in and add snapshots. So this is the agency view. If I click here and then switch to agency view, that's how I get to it. That's all this is, agency view. Now, come in here and we will search for Vets Wash Houses. And then we will actions, load snapshot. And the snapshot we have here is CloseBot v4. That's what that link was for. Proceed. And then we can leave all this. And then there's actually the missed call text back. I override it because what this does is shut off the missed call text back. We'll talk about missed call text back in another video. And then we will type in confirm. And that should be importing. Now what that's going to do is there's a set of workflows and settings and custom values that CloseBot provides in sort of its basic build. And if you go into the help and resources here, this snapshot is completely explained. We're going to briefly go over that snapshot. So if I come back in here and look at, say, workflows, you'll see that this CloseBot v4 has been created, this folder. We'll go into this in a second. Another thing, if you come into settings and then go into custom fields, you'll see that bot latest response, you'll see receive message holder, message history, like all these things. I didn't create that. The Snapshot imported it, right? Goals, accomplish, and all that stuff. These things are going to become more important in the next video when we start to go over some of the automation workflows that we use alongside of this. But all that stuff got imported by that Snapshot. Now, one thing I want to do, I'm not going to make you a pro at these workflows, but if we come into this automation workflow folder, this process message needs to be activated in order for the bot to be activated. So right now, the bot's not activated. It's not doing anything. I'm going to briefly go over an overview of what these workflows do, but I'm not going to go inside of these automation workflows right now. We're going to do that in the next video because I'll give you a peek into one of them, and it's really overwhelming, and I think there's enough for this video, right? Don't get overwhelmed, though. This stuff's not that complex. It may be for some, and I realize that, and that's why I provide a service to do this hands-off, white glove for you. But if you want to do this for yourself, trust me, stick with me. It's not that intimidating. But first things first, we had to set last communication type. So whenever a text comes in, it'll notice, hey, did it come in via Facebook? Did it come in via SMS or email? And then it'll set a setting inside of the contact saying, hey, the last time this contact contacted us, it contacted us via SMS. So when we respond, we want to respond on that same channel. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's the first workflow. That happens every time a message comes in because the bot wants to talk where the client is used to talking. That's its goal. Process message. This workflow sends this message. So the message is going to come into GoHighLevel. We registered a phone number in video 3, and the person's going to be texting that phone number, so it's coming into GoHighLevel. If it just goes into GoHighLevel, and this is in draft mode, CloseBot has no clue about that message, right? So when we turn this on, it's actually going to take that message that came in and it's going to send it over to CloseBot. CloseBot's going to process it with that prompt and its objectives, and it's going to figure out, okay, cool, here's where we're at. We already know name, phone number, email. We need to get its address. What did he say? What do I know about my company? I'll craft a response, and it does it all within 20 seconds. It's crazy, and it sends a response back. Pretty cool. Send message. What this does is it catches that message that comes back from CloseBot into GoHighLevel, and then it processes that message and sends it out to the client. So it's like a loop of communication. Message comes in, message goes out, message gets processed, comes back to GoHighLevel, sends it back to the client, and that just happens continuously. Override message. This is probably like the most difficult concept for people to understand, but we're going to go over this in the next video. All this is there's a field inside of a contact that's called bot override message. And if you remember from video 3, we set a custom value that was like an initial message, and we're actually going to use that initial message as the override message. All this is, and I think this is actually going away in the next few weeks, but all this is right now is a way for an initial message to go out to the lead. So think about it. A lead form comes in and you fire off a text message. The override message is what tells the bot what you just sent. So if you set the override message to, hey, thank you for opting in. I just need to get a few pieces of information to schedule you for your estimate. Is that okay? You would set that, you would put that text inside the override message, and then that way the bot knows about it. It's the way for the bot to be aware of whatever messages are being sent. Now, in the coming weeks, CloseBot has announced that they're going to update this, and you'll no longer have to use the override message, which is really useful. Another thing we do with this workflow, as this workflow sits, I actually replace it because I customize mine. I told you earlier that we send 4 or 5 messages in the first 24 hours. I use the override message to do that, right? So the first message goes out, and then from there we set timers. Hey, if somebody didn't respond, we're actually going to send them another message. 30 minutes later, if they didn't respond, we're going to send them another message. At 7:30, if they didn't respond, we're going to send them another message. And so I modify my override message pretty often in all our accounts so that we can have higher touch. Excuse me. Reset contact, we leave it on, but we actually don't do much for it. We don't use it. It's meant to, like, let's say you're testing the bot and you want to clear all the objectives and you want to clear all the tags, like the reset contact will do that for you. Tool follow-up day, 1 day. Anytime somebody comes in and a message is processed, it adds them to a workflow called follow-up 1 day. And what does that do? Let's say somebody responded to your initial message. You said, hey, I need to collect some information. Is that okay? And they say yes. And then the bot responds, great. Can I get your address so that I can know what home we're servicing? And then somebody just stops responding. In 24 hours, it's going to generate another follow-up message and say, hey, Justin, are you still interested in getting your house pressure washed? Can you please provide your address? And you can actually create this to be like, in other accounts, I've created it to be like a 5-day follow-up. If people just continue to not respond, then every day for 5 days it'll follow up, and if not, then it'll just die off. But really powerful tool and really cool and impressive to see that the bot will continue to follow up. And what happens is if somebody responds to that follow-up message, then it's business as usual. Goes back to step 1, sets the communication type, processes the messages, sends it off to CloseBot. CloseBot generates a response using the prompt, sends it back to GoHighLevel. GoHighLevel talks and goes on to the next objective. It remembers where it left off. It's really powerful. So this video was long. It was very powerful. Hopefully it was helpful. I'm not going to go through and test the bot right now. If you wanted to, you can come in here and there's actually a playground where you can test your bot. If you go ahead and click on test your bot, you can select your bot and you can have a conversation with it. The only thing it won't do is book the appointment, but also if you wanted to, we have an approved phone number. We can come in here into our LeadBrain or GoHighLevel account and we could text our mobile phone number, like our actual phone number, and have a full-blown conversation. We would have to turn on this process message, which we're not going to do just yet. We're going to do that next video, but you can text the bot, you can have a conversation with it from your phone to the system. Now, I highly recommend that you test your bot. Don't just go cold. You don't want to launch ads and you've never had a conversation with your bot, because I almost guarantee you are going to notice some things that you want to change. So have those conversations, give some pushback to your bot. Don't be an extreme a-hole to your bot, because most people aren't, but put it through its paces and then come in here and modify your bot. So hopefully that was helpful. If you got a lot of value out of this, please comment, subscribe, share the content. I'm really excited to be doing this for you. This is a very powerful technology that I think most small businesses are missing out on, and that's why I'm making this. So please comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. The next video is going to be pretty heavy as well. We're going to go over all the critical automation workflows that we need to make this full system work. And this is the system that I implement for me and my clients. Yeah, if you're interested in reaching out, there's links in the bio. I ask that you use affiliate links where possible if you want to. If not, that's all fine and dandy. But till next time, have a good one. Peace.